Hello! So today I'm going to be talking about The Bee Sting by Paul Murray. My fifth read from the Booker longlist, and by far the longest book on the Booker longlist, coming in at just over 650 pages. It's Booker season, baby. Now, for those of you who have been following this channel for a little while, you'll know that I love big books, and I cannot lie. I'm also a big fan of family dramas. So the thought of getting lost in a 650-page beast of a book about an Irish family that's slowly falling apart that is also darkly humorous, yes please, sign me up. This novel is based around themes of family, regret, sexuality, coming of age, class, and secrets and lies. Every character in this novel is hiding something. And through miscommunication and pride, things slowly start to fall apart. This novel is set just after the 2008 economic and financial crisis in a small Irish town, and we follow the Barnes family. We follow four main perspectives in this novel, told in the third person. We start the novel following Cass, a teenage girl formerly top of her class who seems intent on binge drinking her way through her exams. She is ashamed over what's happened to her family's financial situation, and she is also trying to discover who she is. Next up, we have 12-year-old PJ. PJ is equally distraught in the changes in his family dynamic as he struggles with bullies and friendships, and he is secretly planning to run away. After PJ, we follow Imelda. Imelda is PJ and Cass's mum, and she is beautiful, she is smart, and she is obsessed with how the rest of the town perceive her and her family. And she's making it her mission to get the family back on track. And finally, we follow Dickie, Imelda's husband and Cass and PJ's dad. Dickie's once lucrative car business is going under, but rather than face the music, he is spending his time in the woods building a post-apocalypse war bunker with his handyman friend. There are a smattering of secondary characters in this novel, and all of them impact the story and our characters in a big way. The most important of these side characters, I would say, are Dickie's brother and his dad. The first 3/4 of this novel follow a basic formula, getting very lengthy and detailed access to each character's thought process. We spend a lot of time with each character in their section. We also get some fairly lengthy flashback sections giving us insight into how the Barnes family ended up where they are. To give you an idea, we don't even reach Dickie's perspective until halfway through the book. It takes its time. In the last quarter of the book, we get much quicker chapters as we are building towards a finale. The book also switches to second-person perspective for each character in the last quarter of the book, but I'll talk to you about that later. Before we get into my likes and dislikes, I just wanted to say that I was absolutely loving, and I mean loving, this book for the first half. Lots of dark humour, and I loved taking my time to slowly get to know these characters. But after that halfway point, yeah, things kind of fell apart. And even though I am a massive fan of huge books, in the case of The Bee Sting, the plot does not justify the book's length. This book could have done with a massive edit in my opinion, and for me, that's a rare thing to say. So, what did I like and what didn't I like? What I liked, I loved, absolutely loved all of the characters. I thought they were extremely well-rounded, and I was able to connect to all of them in a very kind of unique way. I don't know if it is my age, but for some reason I was able to just connect with every character. From PJ, the youngest one, all the way up to Dickie, I was just able to find things about them, their situation, what they were striving to do, and really relate to it. Yeah, I love the characters. And even though this book was far too long, I absolutely loved the time it took in the first half to give us a real solid grounding with the characters. The humour was levelled really well in the first half, nice and dark with a really lovely blend at play. Even though it's somewhat structurally simple, I love the exposition of this novel. We simply jump from one character to the next, but we spend so much time with each character, really getting to know them, but more importantly, getting to know how they feel about the other main characters. It was a really smart decision to start with the kids, because by the time we get to Imelda and Dickie, we have a really clear idea of how we think they're going to act, the way that they're going to be, only for that to be completely twisted by the time we get to them, and I just really like that. It's a simple device, but it really worked for me. Even though the sheer amount of bad luck and unfortunate things that fall upon the Barnes family could be seen as excessive, I don't know, to me, it was excessive, but it never felt unrealistic. Again, the pacing and amount of time we spend with each character really allowing those different turns in the plot to manifest in a really realistic way. What didn't I like? I've said it already, but the The plot just wasn't strong enough to hold the weight of 650 pages. And also what it builds to by no means justifies the amount of time we spent getting there. I might as well go ahead and say it. I absolutely hated, and I mean hated, the ending of this book. And structurally, the book just slowly starts to fall apart. In the last sections, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we get a perspective from a secondary character. And this doesn't happen anywhere else in the book. It just felt really odd. And also, that perspective is really, really short. It just felt really stuffed in there. I mean, it was just a really odd choice. And the second person perspective thing I have been wrapping my head around. I think maybe it's a way of setting us in the present, in the final quarter, allowing us to feel the immediacy of the events as they're unfolding. But even if that is the case, I don't know, I really don't like second person perspective. I don't think a lot of people like second person perspective. It is extremely hard to do well. And in the case of this book, again, I just didn't think it was necessary. I was absolutely gutted, and I really mean it, gutted with how this book turned out, because from the first half I thought I was on to an absolute winner. From the first half alone I was like, this is 5 stars. It is everything I love in a novel. It is taking its time, yet the plot threads that are in there are moving really, really quickly. It's building. It's all idiosyncratic and detailed. I absolutely loved it. And then it just all sort of fell apart. Yeah, gutted. All that being said though, the characters in this book are going to stay with me for a long time. Much longer than any of the other characters I've read on any other book on the long list. And for me, that's a really good thing. It just means this book is going to stay with me, even though that second half was utterly disappointing. So based on the strength of the characters in the first half of this book alone, I am going to land on a 3 stars out of 5 with this one. I thought it was good. And honestly, that ending is so utterly terrible, and the second half structurally and that second person perspective thing is so weird and strange, yet somehow the strength of the first half book is making me still end up giving this 3 stars. That's how much I enjoyed the first half. So as I continue playing the Burnham Copperhead game, I ask myself the question, is this book better than Burnham Wood and Demon Copperhead? And no, it is not. And does this book deserve to be on this long list? No. I don't know. No. There's so many good things about it. The writing style is really, really smooth. The lovely dark humour, the wonderful characters, the time it takes, the way it builds. All of these things are big ticks. But yeah, that second half... Oh my God, how many times have I talked about the second half? But either way, no, I don't think this book is strong enough as a whole to deserve to be on this long list. So there you go, that was The Bee Sting by Paul Murray. Have you read this book? Did you love it? Did you hate it? I am intrigued enough with Paul Murray's writing to check some more stuff out from him. I've heard really good things about Skippy Dies, but it is equally quite a chunky book, and I am a little bit worried if it's going to be a bit like The Bee Sting, in which the plot is not going to justify its length. So please let me know in the comments below on that book as well, on whether you think I should check that out in the future. Thanks very much for watching, everybody, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.